obviously, from some of our viewers from around the region. This is from Lamar. Some of the, we've actually seen some worse damage and heavier rainfall so far in the PD than along the coast, even though obviously the storm is tracking up the coast of Georgetown County at this particular time. But again, we appreciate the videos and the pictures that are coming in here to WBTW, and keep those coming at WBTW.com. Again, we're continuing to track Matthew for you here on this Saturday afternoon. Right now, 12:25. The eye wall, we're told, just north of Georgetown. Heavy rain right now, obviously, throughout the viewing area. All right, let's go right now to Abby O'Brien.
Hey guys, wind is picking up here in North Myrtle Beach. Wanted to show you this down tree. We've seen several along Barefoot Landing. These trees have completely uprooted. If you walk with me, I'll show you the roots. This didn't snap branches off or anything. It came up from the roots. Check this out. So it is completely fallen over, and there's several along this way that have been tipped over. I know our chief meteorologist, Frank Johnson, he told you a couple days ago this was going to be a worry because the ground is already super wet from a really, really wet September. So this is happening in North Myrtle Beach. And I'm going to go, we saw that there was some tornado damage potentially in North Myrtle Beach, so we're going to head there and update you with that. For now, reporting in North Myrtle Beach, Abby O'Brien, News 13.
All right, let's take a look at some video right here. This is actually a photograph from Gallivan's Ferry. You can see the rain on the roads there, heavy rain, some standing water as well, down trees throughout the area. So it's a mess, just as we said it was going to be, although in some areas worse than some others.
Bob, I spoke earlier with the Georgetown County Emergency Preparedness Officer, Director Sam Hodge, and he was telling me most, roads are impassable due to the flooding, and his words of advice was, it's time for no one to be venturing out at this point. And that was about 11:30 or so that I spoke with him. Of course, they had to have a few rescues because people do venture out during the storms, unfortunately, even though they've been urged by law enforcement officers over and over again not to do that. Now is not the time to go sightseeing. We've seen multiple pictures of people being rescued. You go into these waters and you think you know the roads, but you don't. They can be a lot deeper, and then you find yourself stranded, and then you find yourself in serious trouble. So, his words of advice also from Andrew Golden with Florence County Emergency Management: don't go out, don't get on these roads. It is dangerous, folks, and it will be for quite some time. When I spoke with Andrew Golden in Florence County, he reiterated the fact that Black Creek is going to rise. These rivers and areas, bodies of water are going to rise, he said, into Tuesday. So you're looking at just not a weather event today. You're looking at a weather event that's going to impact people's lives over the next few days. So now is the time to sit still and to listen to what, law enforcement and emergency management folks are telling you, and then let them go out. Let them assess the damage. Let them see how things are going, and then you will be allowed to either go back into your homes, whatever the case may be, or get out on the roads. But certainly now is not the time. There's probably not anything open anyway. We've been checking. We've found very few things open. So sit tight. I know, the governor said something earlier that was very good advice and information. People are getting antsy. They get anxious. They're ready for it to pass. You have to be patient. You have to wait for this to pass. We know so many people are without power. Many of you are watching us on your laptops and all of that. We're so thankful for that technology is there, and we're trying to keep folks informed. But, you have to wait. You have to be patient. Don't get anxious, because when you start making decisions like that, you put yourself and others in harm's way. So those are some of the things I took from earlier today with some of the emergency management officials I spoke to. Of course, we're talking about people being out on the roads. We probably want to get, though, a check of that traffic and see how things are looking out there.
Yeah, and I understand we're going to have that right now with Aaron Moran.
WBTW On Time Traffic, sponsored by Joy Law Firm.
In the
Nikki, all very valid points, and do want to just point out, as we've been on air all morning and now into the afternoon, and we've been monitoring the conditions weather-wise, we have seen some places seeing over 8 to 10 inches of rain since the rain.
The following messages for the following county: Horry, South Carolina. Flash flood emergency for the Grand Strain to Conway area in southeastern Horry County. The National Weather Service in Wilmington has issued a flash flood warning for the southeastern half of Horry County in northeastern South Carolina until 3:15 p.m. At 12:20 p.m., Doppler radar indicated heavy rain across the southeastern half of Horry County from Conway to the Grand Strand. Radar estimates that 6 to 10 inches of rain has fallen with an additional 3 to 5 inches possible in the next few hours. This will lead to additional flash flooding. Complete road failures are possible, along with sinkholes, and driving will be extremely dangerous for the next several hours. Do not drive across flooded roadways. Several structures may become flooded as well. This is a flash flood emergency for southeastern Horry County. Some locations that will experience flooding include Myrtle Beach, Conway, North Myrtle Beach, Surfside Beach, Cherry Grove Inlet, Red Hill, Soquesty, Hammond, Longs, and Little River. Move to higher ground now. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order. Most flooding deaths occur in vehicles. Never drive your vehicle into areas where the water covers the road. Floodwaters are usually deeper than they appear. Flowing water can be powerful enough to sweep vehicles off the road. When encountering flooded roads, make the smart choice. Turn around. Don't drown. Please report flooding to the National Weather Service in Wilmington.
Plenty of pictures and videos in of what we're seeing as far as the flooding goes, what we're seeing as far as those impassable roadways are going. And I actually just tweeted out in the last hour or so, a part of PD Highway, the roadway washed out at this point, missing right now. So these are the kind of conditions where you don't want to be driving, because again, you might see some rain, think you know the area, think that you can pass through because you're so familiar with it, but you never realize just how deep it is. Now, the traffic flows map is showing a couple of different icons where we're seeing the flooding, where we're seeing blocked roadways at this point, but not too much in the way of slowdown. And that's a good thing, because we don't want anyone out on the roads at the moment. This is something that we'll continue to keep you updated with if the need arises to give you another traffic flows report. But for now, I'm going to send it back over to Bob and Nikki, and I think Chief Meteorologist Frank Johnson at the desk.
Absolutely. This is a rooftop shot from, I believe, our beach camera in Myrtle Beach. Hampton Inn Suites, maybe? I'm not sure. Hampton Inn, yes, that's what I'm told. And obviously, look at those waves. They are rocking and rolling out there. We are actually in the eye of the storm right now, and you are seeing it live here.
This is the worst part of the storm. This is the height of the storm. You can see the waves that are crashing well offshore. Those are large 15-foot waves. Look at the dunes. They are just pushing right through the dunes. There are actually 2 dune barriers there, and the waves are rolling right over them. And it's going onto Ocean Boulevard as well.
Yeah, I was trying to picture down in the far left. You can see that swimming pool there, and then you can see that water just right in front, rushing past it.
Yes, and these dunes are normally there's a road in between them where the beach trucks can go.
Right.
So there are 2 sets of dunes, and these waves are rolling right over them.
So this is going to last how long is what we want to know as we try to keep people patient and calm.
We are an hour from high tide. This is the eye wall of the storm. This is the worst part of the hurricane. And so this is going to last for another hour or so, and then things will start to slowly wind down. We're still going to have coastal flooding until about 4 or 5 o'clock. But the peak of it is going to be at 1:30 with the high tide.
Is this a well-defined eye?
It is not. No, this storm has been weakening all morning, and all that's really left of the eye is what is over the Grand Strand right now. There's just one little sliver of the eye wall left, and that's what we're dealing with. And if you look at how crazy that rain is there, you can hardly see the picture, and that's just because of all those raindrops smashing into the camera.
So how much more rain are we looking at before Matthew moves out?
Several more inches across the PD where it's critical. That's where most of the heavy rain has been falling. That will be winding down from west to east later on this afternoon. But we're still looking at a couple of more inches of rain in the Florence area. Once you get to Marion and Dillon County, we will see even more rain than that. So this rain is going to continue, and along the Grand Strand, this is the heaviest rain we've seen out of this storm, and this is the strongest wind as well. Here is the eye wall right in here. You can see there's a little bit of a curve to it. If you could imagine this being an entire circle, that would be the eye of the hurricane, just off of Murrells Inlet. It actually made landfall just before 10 o'clock, about 10:45, down in McClellanville. It rolled across southern parts of Georgetown County, over Winyah Bay, and then moved back out over the ocean east of Devadoon, and now it's off to the east of Murrells Inlet. So the eye of the storm is back over water. A lot of times when the eyes reemerge over water, you get some stronger storms that form around the eye wall, and that's what we're seeing here. Just intense rain in the Myrtle Beach area. The winds are tropical storm force, even gusting to hurricane force. We have recently had winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour in Surfside, and likely from Myrtle Beach southward, we've had winds gusting 60 to 75, even 80 miles per hour. So we do have the tropical storm and hurricane conditions going right now. This is slowly moving on off to the east. 12 miles an hour moving off to the northeast. Now that's going to keep these rough conditions in Myrtle Beach for the next hour or so, and the wind getting worse as you go up the Grand Strand through time. So the heaviest winds right now in Myrtle Beach, another hour or so they'll be up into the Little River area, and we'll be watching the storm surges up there as well. Here's a loop of the radar that's been moving through. You can see at the bottom of the screen, that is the center. It's not a well-formed eye. All it is a little arc of the eye wall. The whole southern side of it is gone. But this is a storm that's been weakening all day long. It is a minimal hurricane, 75-mile-per-hour winds. So the winds really aren't that big of an issue for us. They're still knocking down trees. They are causing some damage, but the winds aren't devastating. But we've been saying all along, it is the flooding that we're worried about with this storm. The freshwater flooding across the PD that is ongoing, and the saltwater flooding that is really just getting started along the Grand Strand because of the storm surge. Also notice in the PD, the back edge of that heavy rain, the yellow, that is right now across Chesterfield County down into Lee County, that is slowly going to push on off to the east through the afternoon. So we still have several more hours of this very heavy rain in the Florence area, a few more hours in Dillon and Marion counties, but there is an end in sight. Toward the Columbia area, it is just lighter rain right now, and that lighter rain is eventually going to be pushing on off to the east. Close to the Grand Strand, it is the storm surge and the very heavy rain, the eye wall right over Myrtle Beach right now. And it is areas that are in this eye wall and off to the north that are getting the storm surge right now. That very strong wind pushing that ocean from Garden City, Murrells Inlet, all the way up to Little River and beyond. Away the storm surge. So likely in Devadoon right now, it was rough an hour ago. Things may be getting a little bit better now. The winds may not be as strong, and they may be coming out of the north, which will tend to blow away that ocean. Winyah Bay takes a long time to empty out, so the flooding along the Waccamaw River and the Sampit in and around in Georgetown, that's going to take a while to slow down as well. But along the from Murrells Inlet northward, we're still dealing with that, and that's going to be another hour or two. Current conditions on Matthew, the noon update, it is still a Category 1 hurricane, a minimal hurricane at 75 miles per hour. It's moving off to the northeast at 12 miles per hour. That was a big concern overnight tonight because as it was approaching the low country of South Carolina, it didn't really show any signs of turning off to the largest storm surge. The largest storm surge since Hurricane Hugo, and down in Savannah, they broke their record for the largest storm surge. It beat Hurricane David back in 1979. So big storm surges along the Georgia and low country of South Carolina coast, and now we are starting to see ours in our eastern parts of South Carolina coast. So we'll be watching that over the next couple of hours. The forecast starts to move it away. It's at its worst position for us right now. 75-mile-per-hour hurricane just off of Murrells Inlet. It will continue to move to the northeast slowly so that by 8 o'clock tonight, it's going to be off of Cape Fear as a tropical storm. It's been weakening all day long. It's slowly going to continue to weaken this afternoon, and that will continue tonight as well. And as it moves off to the east, once it gets east of Little River after about 5 o'clock, the entire Grand Strand will have a north wind, and that will put an end to our storm surge, and that'll start to blow that coastal flooding away. 8 o'clock off of Cape Fear, and then overnight tonight continuing to move away, and then through the day tomorrow it continues to move away. So this is not going to be an issue anymore. And if you look closely at the forecast, by tomorrow night it's all the way down to tropical depression. So this is going to weaken fast. This is the end of Hurricane Matthew right here. In the next couple of hours it's going to be weakening, and we're not going to have to worry about it anymore once it gets past our area. As far as rainfall that we've seen so far, huge area of red, everybody in the red and purple, that's at least 4 inches of rain. And these pockets of blue and purple, that is over 8 inches of rain across Florence County, Marion County, a big bullseye near Kingstree, Williamsburg County. So everywhere in here is having tremendous flooding right now. We have widespread flooding across the PD. There are many trees down, power outages, just because of the soggy soil and the 40 to 50 mile per hour winds knocking down some trees. Along the Grand Strand, notice this little sliver of orange right in here. That is the rain we've seen in the last hour. The eye wall that moved by has really bumped up rainfall totals along the Grand Strand. So many places are already over 4 and 5 inches. The bullseye from the storm is going to be in the PD. Along the Grand Strand, it's not going to be as much for the rainfall, but the PD, many places will end up over 10 inches of rain. So this is a soaker. And our forecast for the rest of the afternoon, by 2 o'clock, heavy rain continues across the PD and along the Grand Strand, but it will be starting to move away so that after 5 o'clock, after 6 o'clock, most of the heavy rain is in North Carolina, continuing to pull away. And after midnight tonight, it's just a few lingering showers and skies starting to clear. So this storm system will be winding down overnight tonight, and the winds will be winding down as well. As far as winds outside right now, Myrtle Beach 40 miles per hour. It's gusting higher than that. Unfortunately, the Georgetown site stopped working because of the wind, but they did gust up to 71. Winyaw Bay saw a big gust as well, and it's getting windier in North Myrtle Beach as well. Across the PD, winds out of the north, and they're 20 to 40 miles per hour right now. And what we've seen further south along the coast is the wind behind this system, once it passes, is stronger than what comes ahead of it. So we've got 40, gusting up to 70 along the Grand Strand right now. The winds behind this will be gustier. You can see the little donut hole over Georgetown. That's the eye where the winds are calm. That calm area did roll across the Waccamaw Neck, so the winds did calm down when that eye rolled over. Peak wind gusts that we've seen so far across the PD, 40 to 50 miles per hour. These spots have had some stronger gusts than that. And along the Grand Strand, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts. North Myrtle Beach hasn't quite got there yet, but Georgetown gusted to 71. We've had a gust to 70 at Surfside Beach. In fact, on the map right now, there's 60 at Spring Bay Pier, 89 mile per hour winds at the entrance to Winyaw Bay. So they had hurricane force gusts there, and some of the stronger gusts along the coast as well. So we will be watching these winds as we head through the rest of the afternoon, and that storm surge as well. And we'll continue to watch the storm. And with more on what's going on right now, we'll send it over to the Weather Center and Tara.
Thanks, Frank. And I do want to point out that the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood emergency for the eastern half of Horry County. This includes everywhere from Conway to the Grand Strand. This is the first flash flood emergency ever issued by the office because of the extreme flash flooding expected between those areas. Of course, Frank just explained all the rain coming in from what's left of the eye wall is headed right to that area. And that flash flood emergency goes until 3:15. Again, that is for the eastern half of Horry County from Conway to the Grand Strand. And you can kind of see all of that heavy rain coming in back behind me, all of that really heavy rain through the eastern half of Horry County here. That is where they're concerned about that flash flood emergency. Again, from Conway to the Grand Strand in Horry County until 3:15. And this is for significant flash flooding expected as you would expect, where we're going to have all the rain coming in plus all of the storm surge from the eye passing through. And that's going to be the biggest concern over the next several hours will be that flash flooding. So definitely don't go outside. Of course, that should be obvious at this point. But we have a lot of flash flooding expected there. I'm going to try and get a little bit more information on how much flash flooding is expected. That's very new information that just came in here to the Weather Center. And other than that, as Frank is explaining everything, is as we're looking, just a lot of really heavy rain into the PD, several more inches. But that flash flood emergency now valid for Conway to the Grand Strand, the eastern half of Horry County until 3:15.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some video that was just sent in for one of our crews in Myrtle Beach. Video from the boardwalk area. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. As you can see, the wind still blowing quite strong. Frank said that there was a recent gust in Myrtle Beach right along the beach of 60 miles per hour. And again, the eye wall right in the area at this time.
Of course, now is not the time to be out sightseeing, as we have said all along. Now, Frank mentioned earlier that Georgetown has seen much worse conditions just a short while ago. We've had our crews down there since the very beginning on actually yesterday, and Georgetown County is set, of course, to get now the worst of the storm surge. We have our team there. Potential to 6 to 9 feet is possible in that area. We have News 13's Brandon Herring out there now. He's live in Georgetown. Brandon, we'd like to know what's the scene there. Tell us what you're seeing.
Hey guys, well, it is certainly better than it was about an hour ago. Still a little breezy, and you can actually see a emergency responder here. Looks to be with the fire department checking on some flooding. This is here at the end of Prince Street in the historic district. That's the the Big PD River at the end of the street, and you can see some of the high water that has not had anywhere to go, essentially. Water that drains off of the street usually goes into the river, but when the river is high, there's nowhere for it to go. So they're obviously down there checking on the river there and what it's looking like there at East Bay and Prince Street. Now, currently, not as much rain as we were having earlier. There certainly was a whole lot more rain earlier when the eye was passing over this area of Georgetown County, specifically down here in downtown Georgetown. And not quite as much wind. It is still kind of gusty at times, and as you guys have mentioned, it's certainly worth further up the strand right now. So we'll go ahead and circle around all the way around here so that you can see earlier, this is some of the damage that we got from the wind. These are some trees down here near East Bay Park that are now down. These are oak trees that just could not withstand those winds. This limb right here, there's another one across the way that is also broken off. These are large limbs that blew over. Fortunately, they did not fall on anyone or any property, anything like that, so this should be a relatively easy cleanup. There's other flooding in the downtown district, right along Front Street and on High Market Street. There's been flooding this morning. The PD saying that they were concerned about people getting stuck where they were. That the flooding continued. And of course, as you guys have mentioned, we still have the high tide to be concerned about. That's still going to come in. That's going to mean that this water has even less of a place to go. So we'll continue to keep an eye on things. Some preliminary data that we've been following, and Frank can probably confirm this a little bit later, shows that the PD River at US 17, their temporary gauge rose to 5 feet. So that's a potential preliminary storm surge of about 5 feet, meaning that, again, the flooding just doesn't have anywhere to drain off to at this point. Certainly high water here around the downtown area of Georgetown. That's the status update for now. It's certainly clearing, looking better, but still concerns about flooding here in Georgetown. We're live in downtown Georgetown. I'm Brandon Herring, News 13.
Brandon, of course, you and Erica Edwards are covering that part of the Carolinas for us. You actually took refuge a short while ago. Get set the scene. Tell us what it was like as that storm was coming in, the eye of it. Tell us how people were reacting and what you were hearing and what you were seeing.
Yeah, we absolutely did. You're right. We had to, it just didn't feel safe out here, to be honest. When you get to those hurricane force winds, the trees were just moving around a little too much for us to feel safe out here on the street. So we did take refuge in one of the historic homes here in Georgetown. And the power went out as soon as we got there. So as far as we know at this point, the downtown area is still without power. If you'll excuse me for just a moment, I'm going to ask this lady here if she is still without power. You guys have power at this point? No power. You've been out for about an hour? Does that sound right? Okay, yeah, so he's confirming that there's no power here down in the downtown area. So that did pass by. Obviously, you can see it's a lot lighter than it was, a lot less windy, but lots of debris here on the road. That just an hour and a half ago, there was a little bit of debris, but it certainly wasn't what you see down here on this.
Well, that's live TV during the storm. We lost Brandon, but I think he set the scene as to what has already happened as the storm went through Georgetown. And thankfully, everyone looks safe. So we want to go somewhere else now.
Yeah, we're going to go to Darlington right now, which has also been hit hard. Parts of Darlington underwater. News 13's Tiana Patterson is there live. Tiana?
Hi guys, we're here in front of the Darlington Air Company, and 4 trees are down. While we've been here, 1 tree fell right next to Miss Christine Gaines' home. And she says that's really concerning for her because there's another tree that dropped, and she's worried about it falling. Tell me a little bit about why you're worried about it falling.
I'm worried about it falling because it would go over the house, but my mom's on oxygen. And I'm worried about her, and I'm worried about the lights going out. She has to have her oxygen because she's real bad with that everything on COPD, and she has to have that.
Absolutely. And while we've been here, the lights did just flicker on and off, and we were really concerned, but they did come back on. But Miss Gaines said they're just going to sit here and weather the storm and hope for the best. So we're here in Darlington, and we're going to send it back to you.
Thanks a lot, Tiana. Certainly feel bad there for Miss Gainey. Continuing to look at video that our crews and also a lot of our viewers have sent in. This is from one of our crews. I think News 13's Carla Herlong sent this just a little while ago. And as you can see, the wind is really whipping in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I received a picture from a viewer, an hour or so ago, and part of a hotel, the siding has been ripped off. So some damage, some significant damage that we are going to see right along, the coast where, as Frank talked about earlier, that storm surge, the water is coming in, and there's something right across the shore, of course, at this time.
If there's only one positive for Georgetown, getting back to what Brandon Herron was saying there a little while ago, is that the high tide's coming up in about 35, 40 minutes, but the main part of the storm, the eye's already past Georgetown. So that's positive. They shouldn't see a whole lot more storm surge right now in Georgetown, but they've already seen quite a bit.
Well, and hopefully the power will be returned soon. I know in some parts of Horry County on the south end near Holmestown Road, some of those subdivisions there lost power earlier, but they've had their power back now. So it's always great when you can get the power back, quicker like that. That's a sign of better things to come. So, you hate for people to lose what's in their freezer, their refrigerators, and things like that. So that's a positive that power is being restored in some parts that was lost earlier.
Still thousands and thousands of people out here without power, including quite a few in the PA.
And right now we are going to take a look at this picture. Also,
News 13's Megan Miller sent these in.
Yes.
This is from Waccamaw Drive right there in Garden City Beach. This floods a lot anyway when it comes to like full moons or astronomically high tides, but obviously that's not the case this time. And pretty significant flooding right there in Garden City Beach.
well, those pictures are pretty profound. Again, unfortunately, Garden City, like Cherry Grove, places like that, they flood. In Georgetown, normal times when you have a high tide of significance.
We just got notice that in Cherry Grove, Sea Mountain Highway is no longer passable by car.
Okay.
So you cannot get out in or out of Cherry Grove anymore.
All right, well, we talked about staying put, so that will take a little time to rectify that situation, get the water down so people can flow again.
And again, Frank, the worst is over for Georgetown right now.
I need to say that for Georgetown, yes, the wind is turning around to the north, and that storm surge is no longer coming into Winyaw Bay. But it takes a lot of time to get that water out of Winyaw Bay, and we've got fresh water coming down the rivers. The PD River at the bridge in Georgetown is still on its way up. It's still rising. So there may still be flooding in Georgetown. It doesn't go down as quickly as it does on the beaches. As soon as the wind turns around to the north on the beach, that flood's going to go away. In Georgetown, it takes a little while.
Okay, we just received word that there is a situation in the Murrells Inlet area with a woman that is trapped County with an attempt to rescue a woman in the Merle's Inlet Garden City area.
And from what we're seeing from all those pictures, Garden City, there is a tremendous storm surge right now in Merle's Inlet, so perhaps the water came up a lot higher than some people thought it would. There are many places in Merle's Inlet and Garden City that are underwater right now.
And we spoke all week leading up to the storm. Frank, you did, obviously, forecasting this storm, that it wasn't necessarily the wind that was going to get us. It was going to be the rain. It was going to be the storm surge along the coast.
Yeah, and for a lot of places, this is, for most of us, this is the worst storm surge we've seen since Hugo. And it's possible we won't know until after the storm, but it could be up there, and some places could have a worse storm surge than Hugo.
Obviously, less wind.
Yeah, much less wind. This isn't as much of a windstorm, but the storm surge is very significant along the Grand Trail.
Well, and that's what Governor Haley and the State Emergency Management Division's been saying all along. The water, the significant amount of water that we are getting and will receive, and as it continues to swell over the next couple of days for these rivers, is a big concern, one of the biggest concerns.
And by far the biggest killer in hurricanes. Most people pass away because of drowning, whether it's freshwater or saltwater drowning. That is by far the biggest danger.
And that is why we cannot stress enough when those first responders are saying, just because it's not raining anymore and just because it may not be windy anymore, don't go out. Don't be venturing out. You're putting your life at risk and others at risk as well.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time tomorrow to get out and look at everything, but today, just hunker down.
That's right.
We have some more videos that are in right now, and this is from one of our photographers, and this video from the Conway area, trying to pick out some landmarks right there, but it looks like it's along Church Street.
And again, people are trying to get through that, and it doesn't look like that's going very well for that individual there.
I'm going to say that was a bad decision.
And so what does the man tell him? Turn around and go back. Folks, this is serious. I don't know.
And here comes somebody else.
You know, these first responders are out there to save your life, but you have to do the right thing as well. And you are putting your life at risk by doing such. And that's unfortunate that we're having to share that video, but it is a perfect example of these roads are dangerous. You do not know how high this water is. I wish I could tell exactly in Conway where that is. 501 for sure. Wait, is that that's the Applebee's, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
it's Church Street, Highway 501.
Okay.
I can't pick out the cross street right there, but
Well, that's Conway again, not Florence. So we're just letting you take another look at this as we...
it looks like that fancy gas station held different kinds of brands of gas a few years back. But again, even if you've driven on a road 1,000 times, you don't know how that road is going to be in the event of a flood. You never know.
Well, we saw that during the October floods. Remember, people would say, oh, I know this road, I've gone down this road. Or
I don't know it when it's covered with water, though.
And one thing that Governor Haley stressed and the Department of Public Safety, don't go around any barriers. We had a picture earlier that came into the newsroom. I wish I could pull it up and share it with you. But in Horry County, a complete road is gone. It has been washed out. If that road was covered with water and you didn't know that, you would fall straight down into...
I think that's News 13's Kathy.